I'm on time. Hey, Sassy Sarah. Hello, Halloween baby. Hey, Shelby Lynn. Fill you in on my mom's recovery. She is doing amazing. Amazing. Oh, that's me. Uh, Absolutely. She's supposed to wear a bra, a surgical bra for 2 weeks. That's gone. Tried to tell her. She didn't listen to me. She didn't listen to me. No one listens to me. Where's everybody? Let me pull up my own stream so I can go. Let me turn down. Yeah. Oh, no. It's Ocean Tide and Laura Lee. How are y'all doing? My StreamYards is so late. I can see it on my phone before I can see it. Yay, Angie, Mama Cannoli. Welcome, everybody. I hope everybody had a great week. I hope they did. It's almost over. We're almost on to the next. This is a good little mystery we have tonight. I got to tell you. But I am in no way prepared like I'm prepared, don't get me wrong. But I'm not stressing right now over it. Simply because this is a good one. I had my doubts at the beginning of this. I thought, but this is a pretty interesting case. I gotta tell you. Oh, Laura Lee, great. I love y'all. Oh, hey, Fairy Meadows, how are you? I'll speak up because you're driving. Um, so you know what I love is that y'all enjoy these as much as I do. I love these things. I love them. I don't know whether you call that like demented. Welcome, Angie, to the screening room where we will be doing some fun things in October. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Um, hey, Kit and Cat. Yeah, Missing 411. I found a channel on YouTube where I watched one of his hunted thing. Hey, no fear. I'll find it and I'll post it. Hey, Tartan Tilly, how are you? I was watching it today because that's the first day I've seen it everywhere, but that's the first time I've watched him. And now I'm kind of, hey, Half Pint, I'm kind of a little bit obsessed. I think I was anyway. I think I was obsessed anyway. And I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's not morbid though. I mean, maybe it is morbid. I don't think it's morbid though. If you're curious, this is my grandmother. My grandmother is 101. I say it all the time. 101, and she's still really curious about life. So even though you think she know your October 30th, it's going on here. Fair Meadows, B-Day. Fairy Meadows. It's on the calendar. There you go, B-Day. On the calendar. You can't change it now. It's got to be birthday forever. Yeah, she's 101. And she's still really curious about different things. She'll watch something on TV. She'll call me, Shannon. I will watch it. I was just watching on the TV. And it'd be about, usually it's something current, a current news thing. What have you heard? I'm like, I ain't heard nothing. Yes, it's very interesting. Hey, Deborah. And so I'm a little bit, I'll put the channel that I got to watch one of his hunted ones free. And he might go on because I think I've watched about 3 of the mysteries in it's like an hour and a half. Hey, Rachel. Hey, Terry. When he's talked about people that they usually go missing in late afternoon, usually after that, there's a weather event. All right. There's always a point of, what does he call that? A point of dislocation, a point of something. I can't remember. This case has all of that. Where people in the woods just go away. Just go away. Unfortunately, with this case, there's a lot of bullshit that went into this case. Happy Saturday night, Rachel. I hope y'all had a great week. I really do. I do. This is Talladega weekend, girls and boys, if you're here. So I got to watch the Talladega truck race today, which ended in one of the drivers getting his nose broken by another driver. Then tomorrow we'll have the big one. And usually at Talladega, there is the big one. You had to refresh. So Sarah is the one that suggested this case. And Sarah, I doubted you for about 5 minutes. What's so strange is how no less of people go boogity, boogity, boogity. You're right. There you go. The National Park System. They say right now there are 5 people missing in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park. And one of them is Dennis Martin. That put to bed kind of, do you think about it? It's been a park since 1934, I think. I know, Sarah, I never will again. I think it's been a park since 1934, somewhere around there. And before this, the reason that the Martins, and I'll just jump into it real quick, the reason that the Martin men made this little hike on Father's Day weekend is because their family, back before this was a park, farmed the land at the bottom of one of the base of the mountains, and then they would drive their livestock, the cows, up the mountain to Spence Field for the summer where they could eat, and all that. So obviously, Parks bought it in 1934. But for 50 years, the male Martins made this weekend trip, usually always on Father's Day weekend. Should I just get into it, or should we? It's 7 minutes in. If they're not here, they'll have to catch up. Just kidding. So they got there Friday. They hiked up to, let me see. I've got so many. I kept getting screenshotting maps, thinking that I didn't have the map. But then I realized when I was putting all this together, the slide thing, I had the map. I had the map 5 times. But they camped up to one spot. They met another family who also was named Martin. That would be Carter Martin and his 2 sons. And they decided to go together as a group, go hike 10 miles up to Spence Field, where they would camp for the night. A lot of people had them as, said, oh, they met their family up there, but it's just because they had the same last name. They weren't really family. Some called them family friends. I'll go with that. I don't know. When you research these things, you get 4 to 5 different stories because you've had 50 years of people retelling it, that it kind of grows one way or another. So they are, the adults are setting up. The adults are setting up camp. And Bill Martin, who is little Dennis, I got to tell you that. It's Dennis Martin, who is 6, his 9-year-old brother, and his dad, who was 33 years old. And I say that because I was looking at photographs of the search, and I see this kid, right, showing people things on a map, getting in a helicopter and screaming his name out over, he's 33 years old, and his father, Clyde. So you had, this was the first time that Dennis was allowed to go on the overnight trip. They had gone camping before, not to this scale. They were from Knoxville, and they didn't go on this scale, but they, went. Hey, Susan, yay! I hope you're doing well. I love you too, baby. So while the adults were setting up camp, and Bill Martin kept his eye on the children, and he saw that they were starting to come up with this little plan. And that would be that they would hide, the children would hide in the tree line and jump out and scare them. How do you investigate new missing persons cases? Well, there you are, kitten cat. And I'll tell you what, when I discovered Reddit, and I'd never fooled with Reddit before until a couple of weeks ago. Big mistake. Hey, Tiny, how are you? Tiny Tilina. It's funny. Hey, James Blunt. And I found on Reddit, you get a lot more information than you do other places. Now, I don't know how, I always try to double back and make sure that I see that information in more than one spot. But I can tell you, I read every single, I read 130 pages of the FBI report. And we'll talk about why that's weird in a minute. So we have Dennis, his dad, Clyde, and then we have Carter Martin. So they're watching the kids playing this, right? Hey, drag him. So the children don't want Dennis to come with them because he's got a red shirt on. And they're going to be able to, the adults will be able to see. So they go this way, he goes this way. But Bill Martin is keeping an eye on all of them. I believe that he did. And Dennis ran around a little tree. Now let me see. Let me go over here and just show you what Dennis looks like. He's the most precious little boy you've ever seen in your life. Here he is, just a little thing. Now, I don't know why this was mentioned, but I'm going to go on and mention it. Hey, Salty C, they say that Dennis was, they had just put him in a new school because he was about, they say, his family, 6 months behind in his maturity and I guess education, I didn't know you could be just 6 months behind. Hey, Oppositional Effect, how are you, love? But 6 months behind doesn't seem like a whole lot to me to be moved to a whole new school, but, he was. Let's go back. All right, let me go back. Let me present you something. All right, so here's what they did the first day. Russell Field, they came at Cadiz Cove. They hiked to Russell Field. That's where they met up with Carter Martin and his children. Then they went 5 miles. Some people say 8 miles. Some say 9 miles. This says 5. They walked it to Spencefield where they set up their camp. And I'm going to show you just a photograph of it back then. There's one shot of it. Sparse little, it doesn't look like, I don't even know. It doesn't look like there's thickets of things, but obviously there are. And here's another view of it. So, that's a lot of field for a mountain. And that's where they were. So he was able to walk. Hey, hush. Hey, sweet faces. Hello. I'm sorry, I was on the other side. So Bill Martin is watching the children. All right. So they come over here and they let the 3 boys jump out at him. Then Bill Martin notices. He said he turned his head for 3 minutes. 3 minutes. And then I think he went and stretched out to 3 to 5 minutes that he had his head turned. But Dennis had just run behind a bush. So he went over there because Dennis wasn't coming out. So he was like, okay, hey, Phoenix. I think he thought, let me go, let him scare me because he's waiting. Dennis was gone. Dennis was gone in 3 minutes. He just stepped behind a bush. So everybody starts to look. They look for his red shirt, his green pants. And Bill Martin ends up, hey, Teresa, Okay, love you, Teresa. Thank you. Earth, I love you. Love you a long time. Bill Martin runs 2 miles down the trail that is right where he ran behind the bush. He goes 2 miles, runs it. There is no Dennis anywhere to be found. No Dennis. He comes back up, right? They realize we got a problem here. And I can almost believe that you don't even have your mind around that. Bill's father, Dennis's grandfather, hikes all the way back to Russell Field, or was it Candace Cove, where there was a ranger station. That was 10 miles he went. They came back in the night. All of them started to look, right? They had Jeeps by then, I think. And there's still no Dennis. They called him Denning too. And I have the fight wanting to call him Denning because I don't know. So the next day they continued. More people showed up. Eventually, I don't know what day this was because these records are so I don't know what to call them. Green Berets. If you know anything about Green Berets, they are tough. There happened to be 500 Green Berets doing maneuvers, and I'm going to show you how close they were to. I got to find another map. No, it's up here. All right. Do you see this red circle right here? That's where 500 Green Berets were doing maneuvers. Here's Spence Field. So 40 of those 500 went up to help. Hey, Nicolina, you were just live. I hope you didn't end it for me because you were live and I was going to tune into that when I finished this. So if we have 40 Green Berets, well, you can't go wrong with 40 Green Berets, can you? Still nothing. The next day, more people showed up, more untrained people. Boy Scouts showed up, Boy Scout troops, which didn't help things at all. Oh, I forgot to tell you, the night that he went missing, there was a freak thunderstorm that dumped 2.5 inches of rain on a mountain. And then it continued to rain 2 more days. But that night, 2.5 inches of rain fell within hours. So, hey, Libby. Hey, Spicy. So that's a lot of water. And that's a lot of flash flooding. So then you have the, and I'll show you the kind of shoes he had on. Then you have the Boy Scouts show up. Well, they find a print. Dennis was wearing Oxford shoes. And I had to go look these up. That's the kind of shoe he was wearing. So they, somebody finds a track, and it's one shoe and one bare foot. And they make cast of it, and they take it back up to the parents, and the parents are like, they're too big to be his. They're too big to be his. They're not his. Okay, well, let's go look again. So a couple days later, they find the shoe and the sock. Okay, so now we know there was a child up there with one shoe on and one shoe off, walking. And then we find the shoe and the sock. Here's what I could never find. Did they take them, obviously, back up to Bill Martin and his wife, Violet, so they could identify? It could be Dragon. They had all these Boy Scouts up there. But Dennis was very small for his age. So nowhere could I find if they identified the shoe and the sock. Just couldn't find it anywhere. Dogs couldn't pick him up. They couldn't put it. Hey, Leandra, how you do? They couldn't put dogs up there because the rain. So the dogs weren't picking up anything. They did this search. They came up to about 1,400 people. Hey, Line Mama, how are you doing? 1,400 people were on that mountain. in this 56 square mile area. And nothing. He had nothing. On Dennis's, what would have been his birthday, and let me show you that. What would have been his birthday, his father was up in a helicopter. Let me find it. I know damn well I put it in here. Here he was with a, bless his heart, he was up in there calling Dennis's name. Now everybody said, "Why are the Green Berets there?" But Army did show up. National Guard showed up. A lot of people did, but everybody's stuck on that Green Beret. Why were they there? Why were they? Why they shouldn't have been there? No. But they were in the area, and they were ready to. Here's what they were going to do. They were based. They were on the ground. But if he had to be extracted, they were going to rappel down and get him. And take him up, and move him out to where he can get help or recover his body. They either one. So after 14 days, this search ended. And it ended up being, to this day still, the largest search operation in a national park ever. He had that many people coming and looking for him. Here's some more just pictures of, there's more National Guard. Here's more. I mean, this was huge. And at the end of this, I'm going to tell you what everybody learned from this search. Because if you have to have something good happen, you have to. All right, so... Everybody went home. And it was major news. It was news all over. Well, this man named Harold Key said, well, wait a minute. I was up there with my family on the 14th of June. And I saw a man, a hairy man. Hey, Laura Lee, if I missed y'all, I'm so sorry. I already said hi to Laura Lee. Anyway, this guy said, I saw a man, a hairy man, a wild man who was staying in the tree line, didn't want me to see him, and he had something red thrown over his shoulder. And I don't know what it was. And then he got into a white car and drove away. Enter the feral people. Everybody from that area said, listen, there are 100% feral humans in these mountains that wear animal skins. They don't speak English. They have their own language. I know. And they are probably cannibals. What? Okay, well. So the FBI or the police go and talk to Harold Key. Again, he told this story, right? He was up there with his family, his 2 or 3 children, his wife, and they wanted to go see bears. And I don't know why that sounded like a good idea to them, but I guess it did. The only thing with the bears that year is there was a big drought, and they had accidentally trapped a bear in some kind of trap. I can't remember what it was. And they were underweight because they eat like acorns is like their staple. And they were underweight. So, so now we have the possibility. They said, listen, either he died of exposure, probably the night that he went missing in the rain and all that. That's what probably happened. But we're not going to rule out a wild animal that could have come up and grabbed him. All right. But then there would be some kind of, I've learned this. If a wild animal comes and gets you, hey, Jenica, If a wild animal grabs you, there's a debris field, like your clothes. They're going to rip your clothes off. It's not going to be a pretty sight. They never could find that, and then people thought perhaps, I hate to even say this, perhaps Bigfoot. A feral man in a white car. There you go. But there was a, let me find him. There was a particular little ranger up there that did not help things at all. And he has, in his years since this happened, kind of elaborated on shit. He said that he was hiking up to look for little Dennis, right? And he smelled a human with decomposition. And he knew it was a human because he said animals smell different than humans. I'll have to take his word on that. So he got a couple miles away and he was going towards another site and he smelled this. Hey, little Kimmy, he smelled the smell, right? And he radioed back to his bosses, I guess. And they said, yeah, don't, that area's already been searched. That's a dead crow. Don't go over there. And for some reason, Mr. McCarter was his name, didn't go over there. I don't know why, but he didn't. Hey, Freeside, I love you, baby. So then we have, let's look back at Harold Keyes. He was 5 miles away. And he was there at 6:30. I'm sorry, I probably didn't tell y'all what time he got. Dennis went missing at 4:30. In like a cool way. At 6 o'clock is when Harold Key sees the wild man, the hairy wild man, with something over his back. He sees him at 6 o'clock. And everybody's like, there's no way that he could get that far. Well, somebody tried it. They went from Spence Field all the way down to where Harold Keyes was, and it's all downhill. So that's one thing that picked up speed. It was all downhill. And they could do it very easily in an hour and a half. Very easily. So that got thrown out of the thing. Let me grab some people here. You ain't going to believe this stuff. Yeah, they thought it was Bigfoot. They could have been the feral humans. And there are people that swear they're there. And I won't swear that they're not. I mean, I'm not saying they're not. If there are, I would think more people than 5 would be missing if they were cannibalistic. But they might eat, I don't know what they eat. I don't know. Now, the only wild man, and I'm going to show you a picture of him. I'm telling you, I'm nothing if not. There was a man named Arlie. What was his name? Hold on. Arlie Phillips. He was a quote-unquote wild man. He lived in the woods. He lived in a little cabin. He ate out of garbage cans. And he is the only quote-unquote wild man that they knew of. Here's Harold. This is Mr. Key, Harold Key, right there. Hello, Harold. How are you? Good. How are you? Mr. Key. I almost thought I put him on here. Anyway, it was just an older man. He ate out of garbage cans. He died in, I think, 2000 and something. I don't know when he died. So, probably wasn't him. Probably wasn't him. It probably wasn't him. So through the years, in 1970, a ginseng hunter was in the area in 1970, in the 1970s, I'll say, because I don't know exactly what time. Ginseng hunting is illegal. You can't do that. But this guy was doing it, and you have to dig. It is a root. The forest lays down an inch of dirt a year with the leaves decaying and all that. It goes an inch of dirt a year. So he's digging for ginseng, and he finds a skull, and then he finds a skeleton, and it was small. But he was so scared to go and tell anybody because he thought that they would know he was hunting for ginseng. So he didn't tell anybody in 1985. Hey, the FBI. Hey, I'm going to talk about you in a minute. He didn't tell anybody until 1985. And he six park rangers went and looked, and there's just nowhere the hell. There's no way. Mr. Bill Martin, had begun a letter writing campaign because he had, bless his heart, came in contact with psychics, and they would tell him where Dennis was, and he would call the Forestry Service about every day from Knoxville and say, "Kid, I got a seer. And they say he's here, and they say he's there. Can y'all go follow up on it?" Well, they couldn't do that. So that was another poor little thing. That just made me so sad.
In like a cool way.
He would write his congressmen, his senators. He wrote J. Edgar Hoover at the FBI. The FBI? Did I say FBI? I did say FBI. Oddly enough, the FBI refused to get involved because it was a missing child. They don't get involved with missing persons, and if it is a missing child, it's got to meet a criteria. They think that Dennis is just in the woods. That he just did, he got washed away that night, or huddled somewhere because it was raining, and it was only 50 degrees. But that's 50 degrees in that cold. But it is if you don't have a coat, a hat, and shorts on you. So forever, people would send FOIA requests up until last year. Send FOIA requests to the FBI to release their files. And for 50 years, they refused. Or you got this. Nope, not that. Oh, hold on, I gotta do this. You would get something like, I don't know. Something like, don't tell me I didn't put that shit on there. You would get something that everything was redacted on. They claimed they didn't have a file on him, but they wouldn't send you the file that they had because they didn't have it. But this year, only this year, they released it. They released their file, and it's 130 pages. But there's 30 pages they're not releasing. So if this kid just withered away the night that he disappeared, why is there a 130-page FBI report on it? Why have you kept 30 pages? Why? This is just a kid that disappeared. Now people are thinking, all right, now why? People thought that the Green Berets, this is the story that was told by people that were there, that the Green Berets were there that day or that couple of days to kill the feral people and get him back. Only problem is the Green Berets didn't have any long guns with them. They didn't have any long guns. They had little side guns here, little handguns. They didn't have any long guns. I'm gonna give you some more. Hold on, let me see. So I read 130 pages. 130 pages of this. And I don't think y'all can see that. Let me stop doing this. Let me stop shares there. And we're going to do it again. Hold on. So I'm reading these things. And guess what? pretty much redacted as well. They are pretty much redacted as well. Here we go. 130. Let's go up here. This goes into Harold Key. This goes into any of the witnesses. But would you look? Hold on. It is page after page. Here's an actual letter from Bill Martin, I believe. Nope. That's the member of Congress that Bill Martin got to write to all these people on his behalf. But anything that has to do with the information, here's another one right here. I mean, there's what? Nobody has any idea. Why are they doing this? And why release? So over the years, Mr. Key, was told he would get calls. Do not talk about what you saw. Don't talk about anything. Or else, right? He got that call one day. The next day, the FBI just so happened to show up at his door to talk to him again about his statement on what he saw. Then a couple of years later, Harold Key's got another phone call. Oh, no, and then FBI people, 2 FBI agents said, don't tell anybody about this. Don't say a word about this. So a couple of years later, he gets a call again from somebody he doesn't know saying that the case has been closed and to keep your mouth shut. Well, the missing 411, is that what it is? The guy who did those, I can't remember his name now, went and talked to Harold Key. Harold Key was 90-some years old when he talked to him. And when, he said, why are you talking now about this? He said, because everybody's dead. I mean, what are you going to do? He wasn't scared anymore. He's 94 years old. What are they going to do to him? And he basically told the same story that he, except for he said he got into, the thing. And he changed his story from wild, hairy man to someone slightly disheveled and trying to avoid it. Thank you, Leandra. So yeah, he didn't get to talk to Bill Martin because he passed away. I can't remember when he passed away. One of the FBI agents killed himself, and everybody made a big deal out about that, right? But apparently it was, I can't imagine working at the FBI and knowing things that they know and seeing things that they see, and you not, just lose it because I'm making sure I got everything. All right, well, let's talk about Mr. Dwight McCarter. He is the one also that smelled the decomposition. All right. Well, he's the one that put into Mr. Harold Key's kind of idea that there were feral people. And he told him they wear animal skins on their backs. They don't speak English. They live up high, so high that nobody can get up there. And Harold Key was like, that's what I saw. That's what I saw. He also is the one that talked to the ginseng hunter in 1985. Mr. McMartin is in here a lot. I ain't saying, I'm just saying he shows up a lot. And he, throws out some stuff that, and people come to him like the ginseng hunter. I don't know nothing about that. So this ain't going to be a real long one tonight. Sorry. So, I mean, this is what we know. I'm telling you what we know. Y'all can go and look up these FBI things. You're not gonna find nothing. I even on Reddit. I was on Reddit, and they have this and that and the other. I don't know. Do I not believe Do I not believe? I mean, I think everybody seems to think that he's in the West Prong area or Big Hollow. There's like a thing there. That's where the ginseng hunter was. That's where the smell was. Are we ever going to find him? No, we're never going to find that child. But I'll tell you what it did do. It showed everybody that having 1,400 people in a spot searching for something is, hey, Clancy, baby, is bad. Don't do that. No, don't. In fact, Dennis Martin's name is known around the world in regards to people who search. His case right here changed everything. Where you don't flood it with people, where you take small little things, yeah, he passed. Everybody kept saying that Bill was 90 something. I'm like, no, it wasn't. Mr. Key was 90 something. I don't know, Rachel. We will never know. We will never know. I mean, I can go over here and look. Now, there's a man, he's on here, and he's also written a book. His name is Michael Bouchard. And he wrote a book about this in, I think, 2016. And he went and he talked to all these people too. He got to talk to Harold Key. And he talked to people that were there. And he said, if he believes everyone that he talked to told him the truth, then he thinks Dennis was carried out by somebody. Harold Key spooked that person. They threw the kid to the ground, right? That's why you heard the help in the holler. The guy called it a gut-wrenching scream. And then he fucks off and goes this way. And Dennis Martin wanders off, and because he's already lost, and dies. He said if he believes everybody that he talked to, that's what happened. I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know how a little man goes missing in 3 minutes. I don't know how their dad can run 2.5 miles. There's no way that Dennis was going over 2 miles. I don't know why. That night he could have absolutely been washed away or slid and fell into a crevice, and they could never find him. It does, doesn't it, Janica? If this had if her case had happened now, well, it did happen, but you know what I'm saying. On a family camping trip, we'd have the same thing. So there's, why was the FBI involved? Why is there 160 pages? Because now we know it's 30 pages they won't release. Why is there 130 pages on a kid that they say just fell in a crevice and died? Why do you wait 50 years? They waited 50 years. These FBI only became in the last 6 months. Why do you have 130 pages? And 50 years later, why do you have 130 pages that are redacted to the point where it's you can't tell who's doing it? All these people are dead now. So what's going on? I don't understand it. Hang on. It's all these things, the more I look at these things, Halloween baby, the more they sound the same. You look at these things, and the more you look at them, the more they sound and look the same. I don't know where a child goes in 3 minutes. I don't know why there is an FBI report, and I'll link it right now. Oh shit, I always do that. I don't know. I don't know why. Hold on. There you go. Just go, if you just go peruse it, you ain't gonna learn nothing. I can tell you that right now. You ain't gonna learn nothing. Dennis disappeared June 14th. Yeah, June. And oh, Sarah. Well, that ain't weird at all, is it? Something ain't right. I don't know what it is. Hey, Catlin, baby. Something's not right. I wish I could sit here and read off all these things. I could save you the time and read all these pages of the FBI. Well, I can't. I mean, I just can't. I'm sorry. I wish I could. It's the most convoluted thing I've ever seen in my life. Just look, I mean, everything in the block obviously is redacted. So this is what we have. They have him as age 7. I always wondered about this little thing right here. He did turn 7. He did turn 7 on, I think, the 20th. I think the 20th of June. He was only a little over a week from his birthday. Why they have him age 7? Because that seems like, I don't know why, but he and his wife and son, blank. All right, why, again, along with his blank, nothing makes sense here. Nothing's going to make sense. Records checks. Look, I love this. It was noted that blank is a what? What is that? What is that? I don't even know what that means. So that's what I'm saying. I wanted to do this one because it's important. I knew this wasn't going to last long because that's, y'all see what we're dealing with here. For somebody, for a body, well, for the FBI to think this kid died the first night, you sure do got a lot of redacted shit going on. Do they know? Was there a predator out there that they knew of that grabbed this boy? I mean, again, I can't tell you because they won't let me read it. And this is 50 years, over 50 years it's been that it came out literally 6 months ago. This came out 6 months ago, and everybody's dead. I guess his siblings wouldn't be dead. Well, they might. Hell, I don't know. His siblings were Douglas, and then it was him, and I think there was a smaller brother named Michael, and Sarah might have been the girl. But only the boys went, and Michael did not go. He wasn't old enough. So it was just Douglas and Dennis. Yeah, they knew something, but I can't imagine being his parents. The worst thing on earth, is I think the worst thing on earth is burying a child. But I think there is something worse than that. Everybody says it's the worst thing in the world. No, I don't know if that's the worst thing in the world. I think the worst thing in the world is having a missing child. Because, you bury a child, it is what it is. It's closure, I guess. I don't know if that closure doesn't exist, but but not knowing, and I'm sure that Mr. Martin probably felt it was his fault. He was 33 years old. He thought that Dennis was old enough to come. Dennis was old enough. Hey, Peachy baby. Probably was old enough to come. But something happened behind that bush. I don't think a 6-year-old, almost 7, in Oxford shoes could run 2 miles away from his family. I don't think he would do it. There's a lot of crevices. There's also wild, like rhododendron and laurel. And it was said from some of the people looking that you could be it was so thick. The rhododendron and the laurel is so thick you could not see the floor of the forest, and that you could literally be standing probably on next a couple of feet from someone and not someone being a body laying down, I guess, and not see it. And if you go back, we look at that hill. We go back and look at the hill. Let me find the hill. This hill. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. I forgot. I lost my pictures. I lost my. Oh, here's some more pictures I have. Anyway, we saw it. I know I can find it now. You have 14. He goes to Stacy. Yeah, it's damn fishy. And I like to. The thing about doing mysteries is obviously we don't know, but we don't know this much. And this child and that poor man would get, like I said, his congressmen and his senators to write J. Edgar Hoover and beg them to go, beg them, and would call the forestry department every day. They said every day he would call because somebody else another psychic would call him and tell him where that boy is. No, he was actually brunette, little curly haired brunette. I lost my whole thing of photos. I don't know where my photos are. I lost the photos. No, I didn't. There they are. Here he is. And it's funny because I was watching the missing 411, and he was going through the things about the hunters, like, or being in the forest. And he said there was always a disability or something. Now, would we call being 6 months behind, or a slow learner a disability? I don't know. Yeah, he went back every year. Yes, he did. Yeah. That's all I got. I'm trying to figure out what to do for next week. What I thought I might do is look into my archives. Oh, yes, she has some. And we can go over the Springfield 3. I don't know, though. That seems like cheating to me. I've already done it, but it is interesting. I'll know by tomorrow what we're going to do. I'll know by tomorrow. And, we could do that. Judith Smith, that's the woman who went on a business trip with her husband to Philadelphia. She went out to do her, sightseeing and whatnot. Never came back to the hotel. Was found dead in North Carolina with a backpack that didn't belong to her. Virginia Rappahan. Do you know? I read the book Room 12. I don't know. I've read that book. Miss Rappahan was not a prostitute like everybody said she was. I get so upset when I do things. Hey, sweet faces, thank you. This is not. I'm sorry. This didn't last longer, but I bring it to you. If you want to do your own research, go right ahead because it's not one we're ever gonna know. Yeah, 12. That's the one. I read that book. That's an excellent book. That is an excellent book. And poor Fatty Arbuckle, man, they just wanted to get out of that $1 million contract. The studio signed him to $1 million contract, and this happened. And this was don't get me started. Don't get me started. All right, let me see Jennifer. No, I haven't. Let me write it down though. I always write them down. Jennifer. I'll know by tomorrow what I'm gonna do. And then I have to figure out a night for ghost stories. because it's October. Boo. Oh, Ocean Tide, I appreciate y'all showing up. I wish I had more to give you on this one, but I didn't. And I thought, well, I'm not going to say I'm not going to do it because there's nothing here, because there is something here. I just don't know what it is. I just don't know what it is. Oh, Deborah, thank you. I appreciate that. I love doing these. I will do, oh, thank you. I will have by tomorrow on my community post, I'll have what we're going to do next Saturday night. Like I said, this is just always a great way to have Brandon Swanson. Sarah, you have not led me wrong yet. Brandon Swanson. All right, I'm gonna write these down, and you can all, if y'all think of one that you might want, put it in the comment section. I'll get it, and we can do it. He was 19 and went miss. Yeah, these missing ones are killing me, man. They're killing me. James, thank you. I was gonna straighten my hair. Look, I always think I'm losing my hair. All right, I always think I'm like losing my hair. It's getting thin, but it's when I straighten it, right? So my son, I got in the shower, and then I usually, allow myself time to fart around, and then I went in there to dry my hair, and then I was going to straighten it. Well, he was in there, right? So I couldn't straighten it. I'm not losing any hair. It's all right here. It's all here. All right, great. If y'all looking forward to it, do you have a link for chats? Don't see it. I would like a super chat, because the super chat, just hit that, or it's scrolling. It's the Cash App $Shannon681 or PayPal. If you would like to do that, hey, thank you, Janet. I appreciate that. It's old, but it's getting there. Y'all have a safe night. I'm gonna come. Hey, Monchichi baby, you missed the whole thing. I'm gonna come on again more during the week, just for little things, because I feel like only coming on once a week, I really miss you guys a lot, and I don't know what's going on with you. So I'm going to try to do that more. I appreciate y'all coming. I really do. Next week will be just as fun as this. I love you guys. Happy Talladega weekend. And I really do love you. Stay safe, and I'll see you in a couple days. All right. See ya.